Hello, this is Mara Jane, and you're listening to The Unseen Perspective. Hello, and welcome back to The Unseen Perspective. I am your visually impaired host, Mara Jane. And this week, I am at Wichita State University, and I am at the Level Up program with Envision. And today with me, I have a very special guest, the kind of head of the Level Up program and someone who works with Envision, and I'm going to let her kind of describe what Envision is and what Level Up is, and kind of both of our involvement in it and how it benefits the blind and visually impaired community. So I'll let her introduce herself and kind of describe what she does.
Hi, I'm Hannah Christenson, and I'm the Director of Community Services at Envision. I've been with Envision for about 14 years, and our mission is to improve the quality of life and provide inspiration and opportunity to people who are blind or visually impaired, and we do that in a number of ways. First and foremost is employment. So we have 2 locations in Wichita, Kansas, and in Dallas, Texas as our main manufacturing locations. And then we have 16 base supply retail stores that sell the products we produce at military installations in 11 states. And those are also employ people who are blind or visually impaired. So about 92% of our direct labor workforce is blind or visually impaired, but there's a lot more that we have to offer outside of employment, including 2 rehabilitation clinics, where we work to provide low vision rehabilitation, orientation mobility training, assistive technology. We have a workforce innovation center to help individuals, get new types of jobs and help companies understand how to work with people who are blind or visually impaired. We have a research institute that is working to close practice gaps related to functional vision use. So right now we've got a couple of fellows that are studying augmented reality and helping people with low vision. Headsets, so like the Oculuses that you would wear for VR, and helping to maybe make magnification a little bit more accessible for people so that they can, navigate their own lives. And we have a child development center, so we start working with kids as young as 2 weeks old all the way through preschool to help them be ready for kindergarten. And then I have my community services department where we help people become active and engaged members in their own communities.
So you said you've been working with Envision for 14 years. How did you get involved with it?
So I have a background in special education. Prior to Envision, I worked for a local service provider for IFSPs, individual family service plans, and I worked with the kiddos who were transitioning to IEPs. So I worked with their families. And when Envision decided that they were going to open up a new preschool, a colleague of mine reached out and asked if I was interested in coming over there to help that get started. And so we opened up the preschool in 2010. And now we're getting ready to open up a second preschool at our Dallas location.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a little bit about Envision, but what's Level Up?
So Level Up is really an amazing program. We started way back in 2006 because we talked to some local teachers, and there were 4 high school students who were totally blind. And, even though they were supposed to be in a least restrictive environment, right, in a classroom with their sighted peers, they just weren't getting their material quick enough, right? So they were always at least 1 or 2 lessons behind because it took that long. Back in 2006, you didn't have a computer in your pocket.
Right.
So it took that long to get their material brailled. And so we had this idea, let's have an AT camp, and we got 4 refurbished desktop computers. We put JAWS on them, and then we taught these students how to use key commands and voiceover, or key commands in a screen reader, so that they could navigate and get their assignments on time. And then over the years, we've just added more and more students, and as the needs changed in the schools, because kids were getting access to technology so much more, we really shifted the focus to college career workforce exploration.
I have been doing Level Up personally since 2019, so 5 years now. I started in the middle school Level Up program. I did that for 1 year, and then COVID happened, and that was a whole mess. So I did it virtually for a couple of years, and then we came back in 2022, and I was in high school, so I did high school Level Up, and this is my 3rd year of doing that, and it's a really cool program. So basically we get to come up to a college, then in this case it's WSU, and we get to take a couple of classes. So this time I'm in money management and culinary. So our morning sessions are like more preparing us for the world and kind of more practical like that. And then in the afternoon we have options of between like some more fun classes. But there's a 3-hour class in the morning and a 3-hour class in the afternoon every day. And then after school, before school, we get breakfast and we have a guest speaker. We have catered breakfast, and then we have a guest speaker talk to us while we're eating breakfast. And then after our classes, we get to eat dinner and do various different activities, listen to talks, do some workshops. On the Thursday night, we actually have a fancy dinner where we get to go and listen to some talks and dress up all nice. And then on Friday, we have a nice lunch and a career expo that we get to go to. So that's pretty cool. That's the high school Level Up program. Middle school is obviously a little different, but it's been a while since I've done that. So
Yeah. So we're really lucky that we get to be on campus at Wichita State, and I think what makes Level Up unique compared to some other programs is all of the sessions that we offer are mainstream sessions taught by community professionals. So they aren't necessarily blind or low vision professionals. They are the same professors who are teaching in the college. And the best part about it is they are passionate about whatever they're teaching, and they're so excited to get to share it with a new group of people and to find out how to make their coursework accessible. So they're excited about it, and really they do the content that they would do for a typical college student. So you guys really aren't getting much of a difference than they would be doing for a typical college student, like a freshman coming into their class. I don't want them to make it any different for you guys. I want them to look at it and address accessibility. And so that's where we come in. So the professors that are teaching it, they already love what they do, and they're excited to learn ways to be better communicators to help make their stuff more accessible. So Mara mentioned the sessions that she's taking. So the other sessions that are available this year, in addition to money management in the morning, we have internships with Interface, which is our call center. So the kids get to go into the call center with all of the other blind or visually impaired call center employees to try it out, because sometimes you might think that you know what you want to do, or think that you don't want to do something. But if you try it, you either find out that you really don't like it or that you love it. And if the worst thing that happens is you find out that you absolutely don't like something, then at least you know that now. So we have the call center. We have students that are doing accessibility testing. That is a really good career track that's coming up. As companies are trying to be more accessible and they just don't know how. They need people to help them test their websites and to make sure that they're compliant with ADA requirements, with government guidelines, so that people can access them. And the other option is entrepreneurship. So what if you want to start your own business? You have to have more than just a really cool idea. You've got to put together a business plan. You've got to find funding and resources. So you can have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't know how to put that together to make your business work, then you're not going to be very successful. And that's taught by the Barton School of Business here at Wichita State. So.
And what other classes are offered in the afternoon?
So the afternoon, and Mara's right, those are the fun classes. Those are, the other classes are fun. They're very engaging, but there's a lot of hands-on learning. Wichita State, their whole entire college is all about applied learning. So it doesn't matter what degree you're going for when you are here, there has to be a hands-on component to it. So, so Mara was taking culinary, and that's with Chartwell's, with the dining services on campus. So they're working in the campus diner, in their industrial kitchens. They got to go to the catering kitchen and help set up like a catering thing. I think at one point they're going to get to go into one of the restaurant kitchens, so they have experience in 3 different very real situations to do culinary. Right? And
yeah.
And you've kind of had that experience this week, right?
Yeah, and it's really fun because we get to not only make a bunch of food, but we get to eat it too. So
yeah, and then they don't eat dinner. That's okay.
Yeah.
So culinary, we're also doing a project called Go Baby Go, and that is with a local group that's on campus. So Go Baby Go is actually a national initiative, and they have different Go Baby Go groups at different college campuses. So I think there's some in like Pennsylvania and Massachusetts, but Wichita has a Go Baby Go engineering program, and Go Baby Go is so fun. They build toy ride-on cars, so like a Power Wheels, and they modify it. They modify the seating, the posture, and the harnessing for a kid who has limited mobility. So, maybe a 2-year-old who can't walk because of their other disability. They build these cars for them, and they're like motorized wheelchairs. And so our kids, who are often told that they can't do things because of their own disability, they get to give empowerment and mobility to another kid. And so that's really cool. And they're learning really, hands-on skills. They're building things. They're using power tools. They're using hand tools. They're rewiring, and they're doing electrical engineering so that they can make these toys functional tools, almost like biomedical engineering. They're making it functional for these kids to use, and then they get to gift them to the families at the end of the week. So they get to, and I think that's my favorite part, is because the moms and the dads who have these young kids with disabilities, and think about your own mom, right? Until you proved to her, and like she pushed you to do all of these great things, and now look at you, you're going to college. But as a parent and as a mom myself, you fear for your kids. You wonder what their life's going to be like, and it's hard to know what that is if you don't see it. We can hope, we can pray, we can push and challenge and do all of those things. But when you can see, potential, it changes your whole perspective. So now imagine these parents who are getting these really cool cars for their kids who have a disability, but then they see other kids with disabilities who put those cars together. So they're like, oh, those kids did that. My kid can do something like that too. And it's a perception change, right?
Yep.
A new perspective. We've also got kids that are doing metalworking and welding, and like they're bending metal, they're making boxes, they're using a MIG welder, a tack welder, all of those things that a typical welder would have access to and use, and they get to do that, and they do it safely. And then the last but not least, we partnered with Computers for the Blind out of Texas this year. Nathan Hill has joined us, and the kids are building gaming PCs. So they are taking all of the individual components that you would put together to build a computer, a desktop gaming computer, and they're putting them together. And that is a really cool, like, hands-on practical thing. Everything that we're doing is something that can be turned into a career or have some sort of relatable skill that you can put on a resume. And then you might find something you're really passionate about.
Yeah, like with Joe Stretchite being here for like the past few days, I've really gotten into film again, like I'm like, oh yeah, this is something I've always done and always been interested in, but like I can totally make a career out of it, and that's like something that I might actually want to do. But speaking of that, can you describe kind of some of the stuff that we do in the evenings?
Yeah, so our evenings really, we want to give kids a chance to decompress because we have a very, very rigorous schedule. So this is not for the faint of heart. We want the kids to be pushed and challenged to do the things, and because we only have 1 week to do it, we want to make the most out of our time. So in the evenings, we really focus on advocacy and like your image and how to present yourself so that you can be successful. So Joe, you guys met with Joe already, and you did an interview with him. So this community, as great and huge as it is really like a small club, and I'm so happy that I get to be a part of it. We had a special guest last year, Richard Retta, with the American Printing House for the Blind Career Connect. So he came and joined us as a special guest speaker last year, and then Richard, fell in love with the program, and he was so excited about it, and he introduced me to Joe online. He goes, hey, I need you to meet this guy. He's wonderful. He's in the film industry. And, of course, I'm like, absolutely. I'm so excited. I love meeting new people. And you never quite know what you're going to get when you talk to somebody. The first time I talked to Joe, fell in love immediately. And he's like, absolutely, this sounds amazing. I want to come do it. And, that energy hasn't gone away. When he came on Sunday and joined us for our sound bath and our arts experience, and has really just immersed himself in the Level Up culture that we have here to keep kids engaged and involved so that they can have a good time and learn things and make new friends. So I have a feeling Joe is probably not, it's not going to be the last time that he's with us.
I hope not. He's so cool.
So, but I think when you do something well, even if stuff doesn't turn out the way you think it should, when you try to do really good things come out of it, and you get to meet new people. And I've gotten to meet Mara. I've gotten to meet several of these kids. We have kids that are here from, all over, not just the United States, but from Japan. We have a student here from Japan whose family is a military family, and they're stationed there. And they flew back to America so he could come. And then we've got students from Texas, Delaware, Minnesota, Nebraska, Kansas. And, we've had students from California. And to think that, they are traveling from all of what I think we would consider in Kansas, these really big cities. And they're coming here to Wichita, Kansas for this experience means that we must be doing something right if there's kids that are coming from that distance and their families find it valuable. So
I think it's a really cool program.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been involved for a while now, and it's been really fun. But now I'm getting to be older, so I won't be able to be coming for that much longer, which is kind of sad, but I'll be off doing my own thing, so.
Yeah, being off doing your own thing, and I think that's the best thing that we can hope for is, yes, we'll miss you, but we just want to be kind of a way station for you guys to do greater things. So if you just spend a little bit of time with us, and we know that we got to be part of this really cool journey for you, and then when you become like Joe Strechay, you can come back and and be a guest speaker. So, like, I remember, I think the first year you came, we had Alicia Hiller, I'm sorry. And Alicia was one of the first kids that had gone through what was back before Level Up. It was called AT Camp. She was one of the first 4 that went through. And now she is a forensic audiologist for the FBI. And Preston Brown, who was one of the other kids, is now Dr. Preston Brown. He's a chiropractor. So it's such a uplifting feeling to know that you guys have all the credit for the success that you do because you're investing in it. But to know that we had some part of your journey is really cool. So
I don't know that I deserve all the credit. But I mean, yeah, it's a very wild ride for sure. But in good ways and in bad ways. But we never talked about the leadership breakfasts.
Oh, okay. So every time we have a level up program, we always evaluate. We try to figure out what is happening and what can we do different. So like I said, we don't have a whole lot of time in 1 week, and we got to kind of pack it in. So we're like, how can we add more content but still make it where it's functional, right? So when we started doing the leaderships or the transition breakfasts, we wanted to make sure that we were capturing the kids. And, if you're sitting and eating, you really don't have anywhere to go. So you can sit and listen to us. But we'll talk about stuff that's important, right? You know what pathway you're taking after high school. You've been on that path. That's something that you've planned on. You're going to go to college. Not everybody is quite there yet. And some people, some kids, unfortunately, don't even know what all paths are available to them after high school. Or if they do know the path, they might not know all the stuff that they need to do to be on there. So going to college, making sure that you've connected with Voc Rehab so that if there's portions that they could pay for, a lot of kids don't know that Voc Rehab could pay for you to go to college if it's related to your degree. So we had a guest speaker from Kansas Department of Children and Families, Vocational Rehabilitation, come and talk about that. The next step, if you're college bound, is working with your disability service office. A lot of kids are used to having an IEP where you have a team of people that tell you what's going to happen. What classes you're going to take. Maybe you need alternate passing periods so that you can get to your classes with a little bit more accommodation, making sure that you have your assistive technology ready and all of your Braille materials. Well, when you graduate high school, all of that stuff goes away. You still have the need, but now you're in charge. And so when you're in charge, it's a little scary. And if you don't know who to reach out to, they're not going to call your mom. They're going to call you. They might send you the email. It's not going to get handled outside of that. So learning that you have an entire department on every college campus that's dedicated to helping you be successful if you put in the effort to get the resources to go talk to them. But for the people who aren't necessarily college bound, how do you get a job?
Right.
That's another pathway. So you've got a transition program, like the Kansas State School for the Blind has a transition program that's really awesome, and kids go there and they get some more immersive hands-on experience while they go to college, so they get a little bit more support. You've got people who want to go straight into the workforce. And when you go straight into the workforce, that sounds great, but if you don't have the interpersonal skills to be able to have an interview, to write a resume, you might not get very far. And even if you have that, sadly, there's a lot of stigma related to blindness and low vision about how are you going to be able to do that job. And instead of asking how you're going to be able to do that job, because they really can't ask you what your disability is, they can't ask you about it, they make assumptions. And so what we try to do is help give kids the words and the phrases to use, or the knowledge to kind of bring all of their information with them when they go to an interview. Like today we dissected a job description.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids probably haven't looked at a job description. Like, you wouldn't really look at it and see how much information is there, and just assuming that if you're applying that you can do the job. If you're a sighted person, they're just assuming if you apply that you're going to be able to do that job. When you have a disability, that is not an assumption anymore. right? You come in with a disability and there's automatically questions. Now, they can't ask those questions out loud, but they have them because there's a misperception on disabilities, especially blindness or low vision, right? Some of them are hidden disabilities like dyslexia or ADHD or even autism. You know, those aren't necessarily visible, but if you go in with a white cane, you know, they immediately see it, and then they're like, you know, ears perk up, hackles raise just a little bit. But I think if you go in there prepared and you say, you know, I can do this job. This is how I can do this job. And you can give the resources. I don't want to say it eases those fears, but it helps to calm some of those misperceptions. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has exposure to people who have a vision impairment. And, you know, maybe the only information they do have is some really outdated idea that maybe they saw in a movie somewhere. So it's your job, and it sucks to have to advocate all the time. Sometimes you just want to be and just live your life. But there are times where you're just really going to have to be forceful and advocate, and learning what to say and how to say it is part of that. And so we want to make sure that we at least start the conversation. We won't have all the answers, because until the world changes, it's not really going to be an easy button, but we can at least try.
And that's the great thing about Level Up too, is like it exposes you to these kinds of things that you wouldn't normally get exposed to during the regular school year, especially if you're in a mainstream school as someone with a visual impairment. So stuff like preparing for jobs and for college and all that stuff, instead of just learning your normal curriculum. So I guess it's the expanded core curriculum.
Yep.
And all about these assistive technology devices that you can use and the jobs that you can go into. It's just it's an opportunity to explore a whole bunch of areas that you wouldn't normally get to explore, especially as someone with a visual impairment.
And I like trying weird stuff, like, you know, things that you wouldn't think about. And I think one of the best parts about being on campus is everybody here is so excited. And because they get to design the curriculum, and now that a lot of them have done this program for multiple years, now they come to me and say, hey, I want to try this. You know, because like the metalworking and welding, that didn't start off with metalworking and welding. We started off with woodworking. And they designed keychains. And it's been so fun because I don't really push any of the session facilitators. I give them a heads up, and I tell them, we do an awareness to vision loss training. It's like, whatever curriculum you think they're going to be needing to do for an entire week, you need to give them more. Because they're going to come in and they're going to blow through like your first 3 days in a day, because you have this misconception that it's going to take like 3 times as long to do something that it does. When really, if it's presented the right way, they can stay pretty much on par. It might be a little bit longer to do something than a typically sighted person, but if it's explained well and you guys have all the materials, you guys really kind of go through it pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's been kind of a fun thing to see. Like even Nathan with Computers for the Blind, he's like, I think we're going to finish this before the last day. and that's building an entire PC. And so the metalworking with welding that I was talking about, Ken Weissman, he is the director of the facilities over at Go Create, which is on the Wichita State campus. It's a makerspace. And the first year we did the keychains. The next year he's like, oh, we can do more. And he put together a jig, this, like big piece, so that the kids could build wooden boxes.
I remember when we did that.
Yeah, right?
It's 2019.
And they had like the pneumatic, hammer, and like they were able to use the nail gun and put all of these pieces together. And it still didn't take as long as he thought it was going to take. And you guys still had time left over. And then the following year, he goes, "You're going to think I'm crazy, but I want to do metalworking and welding." And my thought is, okay. And, I think after we talked about it, it's like, have you ever put on a welding helmet? You can't see anything out of the welding helmet. It's designed specifically to protect your eyes from the arc of the welder. Mm-hmm. So most professional welders go off of feel and hearing. So like as they're moving the welding gun and they're holding it, they hold it steady, but then they can hear it. If there's like pops in it, that means it's not moving fast enough. Mm-hmm. It's got a really smooth thing. So all of those other senses, but if you think about welding, would your first thought be, oh yeah, somebody who's blind is going to be welding?
Right, yeah. I mean, I never thought about that.
Right? So I think it's doing all of those fun, challenging things that, just kind of put things on a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. And, being on campus, we get to see all of the cool new things that they're doing. So when they have a new college open or they have a new program open here, usually because we've got so many good friends here on campus, I was like, hey, can you introduce me to that person? Mm-hmm. I want to talk to them about Level Up. I want to see if they're interested. But I'll tell you right now, if they are not as excited about doing the program as I am explaining it to them, I just move on. I don't waste my time. So, because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste their time. Mm-hmm. You have to be excited to do this because it's really great. It's a cool opportunity that not a lot of people get. And I'm really thankful that I get to be part of it.
I do really like the energy. Everyone just seems so excited about it, and I'm like, I guess it's a cool program, but mm-hmm. It's nice to see people excited about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and especially, if you're learning something like engineering, who better to teach you than an engineer? Mm-hmm. For money management, you're doing money management, right?
Yeah.
So Chris Walgamot, who is teaching money management, he works for Ameritrust, which is a credit union. Mm-hmm. So he's like jazzed about money management, and so that's his thing, and he's so excited, and they weren't able to do it last year, and I called him. I was like, you have to do it next year. It's like, we have to have you guys back. And he goes, yeah, absolutely, totally into it. And you guys are going to do Reality University with him on Friday, mm-hmm. Where you do kind of a around the tables and, do like a mock after college life,
Yeah, I remember we did that in 2022 because I also took it then.
Yeah.
That's another thing too, is it hasn't been like the same curriculum. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning new things still, which I think is cool because I've been to Level Up multiple times and I've taken the same classes multiple times and it's still brand new when I come in and do it again. Mm-hmm.
If like Mara, who really likes the classes she takes, can continue to take them and learn new things every year. But, somebody could easily come in and take a different class every single time. Mm-hmm. And we keep some of the same curriculum. Like there's things that Go Baby Go is my favorite. So it's probably, as long as I have the opportunity to do that, we will continue to do Go Baby Go because it's so rewarding and I love it. But, I didn't know that I was going to do computers for the blind last year when we were at Level Up. I met Nathan at the NFB convention in Houston and started talking to him and said, hey, what if our kids did this? And lo and behold, he drove up from Texas with all the computer supplies to come and do this session with them.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, like I said, you got to match my energy or it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. That's a good attitude to have, I think, because if you do take on someone that's like uninterested, it's not going to be as fun, and it's not going to be as informative either.
Well, and if we don't have classes that are interesting, mm-hmm. then the kids don't want to come.
Right, exactly.
Or they get bored and, they don't want to be here. And really, it's summertime for you guys. Mm-hmm. It's a time where most kids are probably enjoying freedom, summer, because they've been in school. So we have to make it worthwhile while you're here. It has to be rewarding. It has to make you feel good about being here, because you guys are investing time to be here to do this. And you're investing in yourselves. And so we want to capitalize on that investment and make sure that we're helping you grow as much as we can while you're here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you guys are investing a lot of time too, and I think that's really cool, because when you meet the kind of people that are willing to put a lot of time and effort into kind of helping you grow as a person and giving you this unique opportunity, that's really cool. That gives me hope in humanity. So thank you.
Yeah, well, it takes me back, because then I get to sleep on a college campus for 2 weeks. The beds aren't that comfortable, but it's not that bad. We do have a lot of fun, and I really love hanging out with the guys, with all of you guys.
I didn't think the beds were that bad, but I woke up this morning and after breakfast I realized, like, oh my gosh, my back hurts so bad, and like the whole day it's been hurting. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's so fun though, like to get to, not my back hurting, but to get to stay on a college campus, and it kind of prepares you for the future, because
right.
I mean, I'll be living in a college dorm next year, not here. I'll be living at K-State, but.
And then I guarantee, like, if you have a roommate who's never been on a college campus, you're probably going to be more prepared than your typically sighted roommate.
Because I've been here for several years. I've been obviously going to the Kansas State School for the Blind and staying in those dorms, so I have a lot more experience than other people would. So I guess I do have an advantage.
I know. Yes, you guys all have an advantage. So,
which is good, because we have our fair share of disadvantages too.
Yeah. Any way that you can get like a little leg up, that's fine. So what are you going to be studying?
I'm going to be studying biochemistry.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Mary's been giving me crap because I am like between a few different career fields. Like I am trying to decide if I want to be a nurse or just like a biochemist or go into the film industry. And she's like, oh, that's like really different. I'm like,
I don't know.
I mean... I don't know.
I mean, like, well, it would depend on what you want to do in the film industry, like production,
well,
design.
I'm thinking about directing, but also maybe like videography or cinematography.
Okay.
Maybe like video editing. So, a lot of jobs I would be happy with. It's a very, very broad field, and so is nursing. There's just a whole lot of opportunities, but she's like, you're starting so broad, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's better to have a few solid ideas and then kind of narrow it down than like...
figure out what you want to do.
Right.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. And, you know, you have like some of your college credits already, right? Like some of your gen eds and stuff out of the way. So then you can kind of really jump right into the hands-on pieces to kind of define what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. So, again, we're really happy and blessed to have been part of your journey, and, you know, can't wait to see great things, and maybe you can come back and be one of our career service mentors.
Yeah.
You know, so even though you've grown up and moved on, you can come back, you know, during the summer and join us here. Only you'd be a mentor this time.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to have been here for all these years, and I'm excited for whatever the rest of this week brings.
All right.
By the time this is released, it'll have ended, but I'm sure it was great. But that's all we have for you today. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah, if you have any questions for myself or Hannah, you can email me at theunseenperspective2024@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at theunseenperspective2024. You can find my podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And if you have made it to the end of this episode, thank you, and I hope you'll tune in next time. If you are looking for another podcast about the visually impaired experience, I would highly recommend Discover Podcasting at KSSB. You can follow them on Instagram at KSSB Podcast and Twitter also, I believe, at that same handle. And you can find them wherever you get your podcasts. But that's all I have for y'all today. So I hope you have a great day, a great night, whenever you're listening to this. But until next time, peace.